Hello, all, and welcome to this night's cider review. We're going to be reviewing cider. So there's this sort of specialty food land over by where I now live in Kahala, and they sold Paradise cider by the can. So I'm kind of surprised by that, and I went and got the Guava Lava here, and that is with pink guava and this is a pink guava and strawberry cider. So apples are the base, obviously, with the addition of guava and strawberries. This is 5.2 ABV. I've already had one can, and I found it quite pleasurable. Look, is this made and canned in Hawaii. Interestingly, they go and put like this is something I don't really see much. They have like the calorie breakdown and you know all the nutritional things. It's the first time I've ever seen that on an alcoholic beverage. Sometimes I'll see like the calorie count or the carb count, but never like the nutritional breakdown. So yeah. Now, as you know, I don't really drink all that many ciders. I can't really be called a real super, really acute, high acuity as a cider reviewer. I'm being much more of a beer and whiskey reviewer, as it were. But you know, this was pretty good. I believe some cider traditionalists. I think cider heads are a bit more traditional than beer people in that they tend to look askew at overuse of adjuncts. But hey, I'm from the beer world, man. I mean, they'll throw anything into, you know, the mash in the beer world. So, without further ado, let's just get to this. Now, I don't know what I'm going to be reviewing tomorrow. I'm going to surprise myself, just as I surprised myself with this. So let's give this a pour out, shall we? Fairly lightly carbonated. And the light isn't really showing it, but it's sort of a cloudy, pinkish, orange color. Pretty heavy on the guava and the strawberry on the nose, with the apple sort of being underneath, an underlying base, as it were. I'm not sure what you would call it. It's not a malt or a mash. So yeah, like I said, it's fairly lightly carbonated. I've had ciders before. This is probably the lightest carbonated. I'm wondering if it's all natural carbonation as opposed to forced carbonation, which is why it's fairly light. Or if, natural ciders, high quality natural ciders are fairly light in carbonation, lighter in carbonation than beer, that is. Nicely refreshing. Even though this is 5.2 ABV, you could give this to someone and they'd be surprised, by about halfway through when they realize that there's alcohol in it, because there is no taste of alcohol in this whatsoever. And that's not because it's being covered up by overwhelming amounts of sugar. This is only about semi-sweet in taste. So the strawberry and guava are up front. With the apple really showing in the midst to finish. Decent enough carbonation bite in the front. Sweetness that shows up and sort of lasts into the finish, but the tartness emerges in the midst from the apple. Sweetness generally comes across as more from the guava. This kind of has a very subtle guava flavor to it, mostly in the front, but kind of lasting into the finish. By no means cloying whatsoever. That tartness and the acidity in the mids kind of means that the sweetness is sort of light. It's not really clinging to the tongue. It's just perceptibly sweet in the long finish. And this would fall into the category of dangerously drinkable. You could really just pound these. Just trying to suss out the more effervescent notes here since carbonation is a little bit low. Yeah. What's interesting, even though it's guava strawberry, is that it doesn't really come across as all that tropical. The guava is definitely there, but because of the acidity of the apple cider base, it's kind of balancing it out pretty well. Definitely feels like the apple makes itself more known in the effervescent notes from the mid to finish. While the strawberry and guava are really intertwined together, they're very difficult to kind of suss out separately, and they're very much more in the front. Really, just a kind of a big burst in the front that sort of subsides, but never really quite disappears into the long finish. As it warms up, the sweetness is kind of increasing. Well, my perception of the sweetness is kind of increasing, especially into the long finish, but still not really reaching a cloying state. Yeah. So let's just go and wrap this up then. This is Paradise Ciders from Hawaii. I reviewed a few of these from Three Peaks, doing a growler fill there. And yeah, recommend this. Just be careful you don't drink too much of it, I suppose. And that, my friends, is your cider review for the night. And tomorrow is New Year's Eve. I'm probably going to be doing my last review of 2020. Here's hoping for a better New Year, but I try to keep these light and not too focused on current events. But I'm kind of skeptical that's going to be all that much better, to tell you the truth. Yeah. So who knows what I'm going to be reviewing? I'm going to be back in February reviewing again. Unless, something happens, meteor hits the Earth or something like that. The big volcano in Canary Islands goes and explodes or something. Who knows? Yeah. To end it on that light note. That's your cider review. Cheers.